in absolutely obscure places just because they seem to have a gurdwara in that place. Uh, I tend to personally, when I have to see it, I sometimes think Sikhism is kind of saved a bit because it's a very young religion. Although we have our share of problems, but because it's fairly new, it's 300-400 years old, and our gurus also, if one were to see, it's not really a long history that we have compared to other organized religions in the world. But my question here is more regarding what are the what are the uses of organized religion? Now, since it's a factor that we have to stay with, the polarity comes and goes. If you realize it's fairly political at different points in history. This has happened. Um, a lot of people today would say that exactly the opposite was happening with so and so religion, or what about the times when this happened, or Christianity had its own run with a lot of different kind of unorganized religion in the, I think, 1600, 1700, somewhere around that time. So that apart, the political issue would continue, I think, over time till we become a more sane human race. But while it is there, are there any uses that Rajita that you would want to really imbibe in yourself, saying, "Oh, this is good about organized religion. I would want it in my life."
Like you said, some non-governmental organizations or charity organizations, they stem from a religious background. For example, Mother Teresa's organization that's run in Calcutta, it probably has a religious angle to it. But that being said, I don't see religion, just because it's come out of a religious background doesn't mean that you can't do the same work without the religious tag to it. But again, it does serve a very good purpose. Even when you say when there's a gurudwara nearby, you get access to free food. I would say more people invest into it because they have religious connections,
Yeah.
because you have people pouring in a lot of money because of the religious affiliation, which is why things work the way they do. So I think it's very hard to separate the two, and I can't conveniently say that you can separate religion out of the good charity work that's being done. So I would say that yeah, that is something I would admire, and I find it I find it useful. So I think that way religion does serve a function, as long as it's not polarizing anybody and is accepting of everyone and welcomes everyone into the premises.
Okay. I have a question that mixes this answer of Rajita with an earlier answer that she gave. My own my own journey has seen a lot of ups and downs as far as my spirituality is concerned. Uh, Somebody who knows that I meditate has called me a practicing Sikh Buddhist, which I am unable to. I think the human mind loves to find labels so that it can put you in a bracket, and it is not. In fact, it is a compliment to me that if I am seen like that. Uh, what my question to Anand would be is to combine Rajita's first answer, where she said she wanted to demarcate between religion, organized religion, and spirituality, and this answer where she likes the charitable bit. My understanding is that it starts very often. It starts with a genuine sense of questioning: Why are we here as human beings? What is happening to us? I remember a very when I was around 20 years back, I had seen a film where these guys are, there's a lot of bad weather that these guys in the forest are facing. And they have no clue what is happening, and they come and suddenly they land up praying, or somebody guides them to pray to a large tree, which is like humongously big, one of those Amazon forest kind. And the bad weather goes away. So now that's the first time that they kind of um, attach themselves to the idea that there's a power beyond us and which listens to this kind of thing. While it was fear that led them there, I would like to think that at some point we all want to know a little more about ourselves, especially when we fail in certain things where our intellect fails us. Or so, Anant, is there any base for people coming together in a pursuit like that, where organized religion may play a part besides the charity bit that Rachita mentioned?
Is, I mean, again, it is, I would like to reference the escapism argument where if it works for you, well and good, no problem with that, but acknowledge your privilege and work towards dismantling that is all that I'd say.
Okay, I would want to push you a little on that. In the practice that I do, obviously there is a formal engagement, but we are not supposed to be uh, necessarily convinced by it. They allow us to look at it scientifically. If it works for us on the basis of our own experience, they ask us to continue and see the results for ourselves. Having said that, I find uh, there is a lot of merit in uh, testing oneself in various factors, be it charitable, be it perseverance, be it patience, be it determination. Meditation by itself is a very difficult task, even if it is a solo task. More so because it's a solo task, because just sitting and watching whatever the object of meditation given to you, different people have different aspects. You have a lot of fight going in there. So when you come
Yeah,
together, I think that helps. At that point, I wouldn't necessarily call it escapism because it helps me break my own limitations and go further because there are others doing the same thing and walking the same path. Would you
yeah.
still call it escapism or would you give it a little more credit than that?
Uh, I mean, I wouldn't give the religion as a whole, including its ritualism, credit, but definitely I feel that any gathering of people, if you want to meditate together, it needn't necessarily be religious, right? So I'd ascribe the success more to the congregation than to the religion.
Okay. I think of all the answers, one common thread has been running throughout Rajita's and your points of view is that it is the sincerity with which the approach is taken that matters much more than the entire ritual, organization, religion, or whatever. So, would it be fair to say that is the most important aspect that individuals should also work on, and if there is an organized sense, they should work on increasing their sincerity bit towards finding what they're looking for, whatever it is, God or peace or whatever it is. Rajita?
I said, I don't think there's much in my hands to really guide other people towards. And people should find out for themselves. And like this discussion we are holding, maybe this discussion needs to be held on a wider level where people think about it. Because, again, if we hadn't been having this conversation, I wouldn't have given it as much thought. So I think people need to think for themselves. And I don't really have anything in specific to tell people.
Okay, this is wonderful because Anant, this is exactly the objective of all the podcasts has been that we can try and provoke people to think about subjects that they are very sure of most of the time about their points of view. Either or, it doesn't matter which side of the argument they stand on. So, any last words that you would want to have on this? You agree with the sincerity bit, or would you want to go with Rajita saying that let people find out on their own what works for them and stumble on their own truths?
I don't believe both to be mutually exclusive. If you think hard enough, stumble upon your own truths, the truth that you'll ultimately come upon is that basically unorganized, organized religion. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's a good enough line to end the topic with. Thank you, Rajita, for your time and joining us at such a short notice. And Anand, as always, a pleasure to
Thank
have you.
you.
Thank you for this discussion. I'll see you around.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.